Hello, my stupendous students. How are you today? Hopefully you're doing well and you're ready to move on with properties of adding and multiplying with expressions. Today we're going to learn about the distributive property. All right, so what I want you to think about when we talk about the distributive property is think about the root of the word. The root of the word is distribute. So we're talking about distributive, distribute. If I say that I want you to distribute all of these cookies to your classmates, there goes Mrs. Rodriguez with food again. What are you going to do? You're going to hand out cookies to each of your classmates. You're going to give each classmate cookies. All right, so that's what I want you to think about when we talk about distributive. So think about distribute, like give to everyone. Okay, and so I'm going to show you an easy example to start with. Okay, so let's do 7 times 3 plus 2. Okay, so what I want to do is to make this easier, I could do 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 7 times 5 is 35. But I can also distribute, and it's really important because eventually there's going to be variables in there, and it will be more helpful when there's variables because you can't add 3 and an x to get a number. So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute the 7 to everything that's in the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute it to the 3, and I'm going to distribute it to the 2. Okay? And to distribute, all you have to do is remember this right here, 7 next to the parenthesis, is multiplying. So you're going to multiply 7 times everything that's in the parentheses. So I'm going to get 7 times 3 is 21 plus 7 times 2 is 14. And then I can solve it and I will get 35. All right, to break it down just a little bit more to show you how to distribute, another way that you can write it is 7 times 3 plus 7 times 2. All right, so remember, it's the same as doing 7 times 5. This equals 35, and this equals 35. Okay, so there's no difference. It's just an easy shortcut for doing smaller math when we have big expressions, okay? So we can do the same thing when it's algebraic. And remember what algebraic means, there's going to be letters in there, okay? So let's change my problem, and this time we're going to change it to 7 times 3 plus x. Okay, so now what I would do is I'm going to distribute the 7 to the 3 and the 7 to the x. So I'm going to do 7 times 3 plus 7 times x. And then just remember, you got to do whatever math you can do. So I can multiply 7 times 3, that's 21. But I can't do anything with the x, so I'm just going to leave it 7x. And that's my solution. Okay. We can also use the distributive property along with helping us do mental math. So it doesn't always have to be this hard. It could be an easy problem. For instance, like 8 times 53. So what we can do is we can look at this as 8 times 50. So I'm going to use the number from my tens column. So 8 times 50, and then the number from my ones column, plus 8 times 3. So 8 times 50 is 400, plus 8 times 3 is 24, and then I can add it 424. It's a little bit easier than doing stacking math if you want to try it, okay? So you can also use it mentally sometimes with lower numbers. So let's say I have 6 times 35. Well, mentally, if you try this in your head, in my head I'm going to say, oh, well, 6 times 30 is 180. And then 6 times 5 is 30. 180 plus 30 is 210. Okay, so you can use it mentally too for smaller or easier math. All right. Okay, so another way that this comes in handy is if we're working with fractions. Sometimes it's easier to work with fractions this way. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. My example problem is going to be 1/2 times 2 3/4. So right away when I look at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do BBT and all that stuff, right? But if I use the distributive property, I don't actually have to. Watch what I can do. If I distribute the half to the 2, that's 1/2 times 2. Plus, distribute it to the 3/4. 1/2 times 3/4. Now I have smaller math to do. Okay, so 1/2 times 2 equals 1, right? Because if I have a half and a half, that's 1. So that's easy. Okay. And then if I work out the math, I have to find the greatest common factor. The greatest common denominator. And I will get 3/8. So that means my answer is 1 3/8. All right, so those are easy ones, but you can use this for much longer expressions as well. So let's simplify. Remember that word simplify means make it smaller, get it as small as you can. Simplify the expressions. Okay, so for A, we're going to do 9 times 6 plus 2x plus 3. And then for B, we're going to do 7w plus 2 times w minus 5y. Okay, so we're going to do those real quick, okay, together. Remember, I can distribute this 9 to everything that's in here, okay? So if I distribute this, it's 9 times 6 plus 9 times 2x plus 9 times 3. Whew, my goodness. All right, now I can remember to combine my like terms, right? If I have any, I can combine like terms. And so the 9 times 6 and the 9 times 3 can become 9 times 9. And then I have 9 times 2x. And now I just do the math. So 9 times 9 is 81. plus 9 times 2x is 18x. That's my answer. All right, here we go again. All right, so I'm going to look at my problem, and I'm not going to do anything quite yet, because what I'm going to first do is distribute my 2. So I can distribute that 2 to both the w and the 5y. So I'm going to distribute 2 times w minus 2 times 10, 2 times 5 is 10y. Notice I use the sign that's in there. Make sure you use that sign correctly. Don't think it's always plus. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of my problem. Okay, now I have 7w plus 2y, 2 times w, minus 10y. And I see here I can combine these like terms. Remember, there's no sign in front of the 7, but I know that's positive. And this 2 is positive, so I'm going to add them. I have 9 times w minus 10 times y. And I can't do any further math. So my answer is 9w minus 10y. Okay, remember to combine those like terms though. Okay, so now I would like you to write these 3 problems down. 7 times a plus 2, number 2, is 3 times d minus 11. And number 3 is 7 times 2 plus 6 minus 4d. Go ahead and pause the video and work on these and try and see how you're doing. And then when you come back, we'll check and we'll see how you did, okay? All right, so hopefully you paused it, you worked on these 3 problems, and you're not just clicking in and saying, oh yeah, Miss Rodriguez, I'm just going to let you do all the math, because that's not how you really learn, okay? So hopefully you're coming back after you just solved those. Okay, distributive property, I have to remember distribute to both items in there, both terms. This is a term, that's a term. 7 times a is 7a. 7 times 2 is 14. I can't combine them. They're not like terms. I'm done. Easy peasy. Next one. 3 distributed to both terms. 3 times d is 3d. Minus 3 times 11 is 33. All right, and then my last one, I'm going to distribute the 7 to all 3 terms. Remember, you can distribute it to as many terms that are in there, okay? So 7 times 2 is 14, plus 7 times 6 is 42, minus 7 times 4 is 28d. Since I have more than 2 terms there, I better check and make sure that I don't need to combine any. And I actually do. So 14 and 42 can be combined because they're just constants. So 14 and 42, I got 56 minus 28d. All right, so hopefully you guys are getting the idea with distributive property. You're going to have a practice activity as always, and hopefully that will help you get even better. Remember, if you don't do perfect, go back and make corrections after it's graded, okay?